Thank you, Encik Ghani. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are pleased to convey the great news to you of a new, stronger, all-encompassing entity, Malaysian Society for Engineering and Technology, which is known as MySET, as a call for consolidation between Malaysian Society for Engineering and Technology, MSET with a small letter M, and the Malaysian Society of Engineering Technologies, known as MSET as well, with a capital M. Following this merger, MySET will become a comprehensive, multidisciplinary, and multi-level engineering fraternity dedicated to sharing expertise and providing feedback on a comprehensive range of engineering and technology issues with the government and relevant agencies in the country. With regards to this, we are gathered here to witness the merger and MOU signing ceremony between the two MSETs and the launching of the MySET new corporate identity logo. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we would like to invite Yang Berbahagia, Professor Datuk Abang Ali, President of MSET, to deliver his welcoming address. Please give a warm round of applause to Yang Berbahagia, Professor.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Yang bersaham MC Dr. Ting, very qualified MC. Yang berhormat Datuk Haji Fadilah Haji Yusof, Timbalan Menteri Kementerian Sains, Teknologi dan Inovasi, or better known as MOSTI, yang berbahagia Profesor Dato' Hakim, President of the other MSET. We have two MSET, who is also the President of University Kuala Lumpur. Dibdik kehormat tuan-tuan dan puan-puan sekalian. Tuan-tuan sekalian, alhamdulillah kita dapat berjumpa pagi ini untuk melancarkan satu identiti baru yang insya-Allah akan dapat membantu kita menangani masalah yang sedia ada dalam fraternity kedutaan di negara ini, dan dengan harapan juga kita akan dapat menggunakan platform yang baru ini untuk membangunkan kelayakan dan juga kemampuan profesional para jurutera teknologi dan juga technician di negara ini. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we are now in a very competitive world, very competitive world, and engineers being very important members of the population, we have to remain competitive, and we have to work closely with other members of what we call the engineering team. We have in our country here engineers who are already involved in trying to develop members of their profession professionally through, for example, the Institution of Engineers Malaysia, through the Board of Engineers Malaysia, and through other organizations. Unfortunately, there's still a lot to be done, because once we are living in this very competitive, globalized world, we are thinking about competing at the international level. We are thinking of making sure that our engineers are able to stand tall together with engineers from other countries. But the sad fact is, we find that very few engineers from our country are able to successfully compete at international level. I myself have been appointed an advisor to one university in Saudi Arabia, and I wanted very much to get our consultant, our architects, our engineers, our quantity surveyors to be involved in that project. Unfortunately, they don't measure to what is required by the Saudis. You know, the Saudis, they require something that is of the best quality. They want the best architect, they want the best engineer, and so forth. And we find that although we are good, we may not have the reputation to be able to compete internationally. So reputation is important, and this is why the profession as a whole in our country has got to be further developed to ensure that at least at the international level, our professionals are known to have that quality. Alhamdulillah, in our country now, there's a lot of effort by the Ministry of Higher Education in particular in trying to increase the number of engineering graduates, including engineering technicians as well as new technologies in the country. We have formed so many universities, so many faculties of engineering today, so much so, by my simple calculation with the former Ketua Pengarah or Director General of Jabatan Pengarah Tinggi, JPT, we may be producing something like 15 to 20,000 engineers annually. Annually, we are producing that big number. And the Jabatan Polytechnic alone in the Ministry of Higher Education is producing something like 30,000 technicians annually. And I believe Uni KL is producing around 10,000 or so of engineering technologies annually, plus more, could be more, plus the other college universities and other institutions. Now, with that large number, we may meet the target in terms of the number of engineers, engineering technologies, and technicians that we require for our country. And mind you, at the moment, my estimate is we have something like more than 200,000 engineers already in the market. Some have gone missing, some have gone into banking, into finance and so on, not practicing engineering per se, but they are engineers nevertheless. And unfortunately, we find that where we have won in terms of quantity, there is a problem in terms of quality. Because out of these 200,000 engineers, around 12,000 have qualified to become professional engineers. That is less than 6% of the total population. In other words, more than 90% out there have not enjoyed the opportunity for professional development. So in other words, they remain as engineers who graduate from the university and have not developed further, have not been able to improve themselves professionally so that, as we said earlier, they can compete internationally. This is a sad situation in our country. Now, at the same time, while in the world today, for example, in the UK, there is now a division between what is an engineer and what is what we now term as engineering technologies. But in the UK, they call it by another name. They call it incorporated engineering. In the UK, there now exists separation between what would theoretically be called engineering scientists and the other engineering technologies. And we find that this is also being adopted in other countries, in the US in particular. They have degrees in engineering technology to produce engineering technologies. And at the level of accreditation, now there is a separation between engineering degree, which is looked after by the Washington Accord, and there is engineering technology degree that is being looked after by the Sydney Accord, and also the technician qualification that is being looked after by the Dublin Accord. And to add to the accords, the IT people have got a sole accord, another accord. Now, things are developing overseas, and yet, unfortunately, in Malaysia, we are quite static in our understanding of all this, and all the time waiting for things to settle overseas before we implement it here in our country. But personally, I believe we should be taking the initiative. We should be ahead of the pack instead of just falling behind the Americans, the British, the Germans, and so on. I was particularly very happy when one day the then Prime Minister decided to establish the college universities with the intention of emulating the Fachschulen in Germany, i.e. to produce engineers who are more practical, who are more applied in their approach, as opposed to engineers who are more scientific, and these scientific engineers are more needed in the area of research, in the area of advanced design. Whereas the engineering technologies or the practical engineers are more suited for jobs in construction, in production, in manufacturing. That was a very good move by the government. But unfortunately, after a number of years, these 4 universities or college universities decided to become full universities and forsake the idea of the applied or hands-on engineering training, thereby leaving UniKL alone to continue the good work of producing engineering technologies. In one dinner, we invited Tun Mahathir, who was the one, who was the one who initiated the idea of these practical engineers. So I was seated beside him. At that time, I was the president of the Institution of Engineers Malaysia, and I asked him privately, Tun, how is it that this college university, which was established to produce practical engineers, they decided to move on to produce normal engineers? But perhaps Tun was no longer the Prime Minister at that time, so his answer was simply, itulah Rewani. That was the answer at that stage. So I couldn't get a more elaborate answer to that question. But I believe Tun was not happy himself that a good idea was not carried on. But I'm pleasantly surprised that now people are beginning to realize that this is an important issue and something that I hope that everyone, including members of the press, would take up seriously, because it means the success or failure of a country as an advanced nation. Because as an advanced nation, we need engineers who are qualified. We need engineering technologists who are qualified, as well as technicians who are qualified. And they must be professionally qualified through some arrangement, some program after graduation from the campus. Everything cannot be done within the campus. The 4 years or 3 years for diploma that we have, the time that we have, cannot be used to train them in all the practical aspects of their career. What we can deliver in the university at best is mainly academic understanding, a scientific understanding, with the hope that the practical part will be covered after graduation.